Just thinking about that season makes me teary, because I realized that I was using her. I would be considered using her. But really, when I look at how her life is, I always say she's 1,000-fold blessed, like blessings upon blessings upon blessings. And I realize it's because she has such a big heart. So guys, tell me, have you ever been in a situation where you feel used and abused? You know, I have been in that situation where I have felt, for whatever reason, somebody or people have taken advantage of me, maybe because I don't want to sound like I'm blowing my trumpet, but you know, like I'm being kind. I tend to be giving, I tend to be generous sometimes, and in that sense, sometimes I felt like people have taken advantage of me. And we hear it all the time on social media, especially people complaining about the way, or people being hurt or feeling hurt because somebody took advantage of them, somebody crossed boundaries, and somebody was using them. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, in as much as sometimes that is true, and I have been in that space where I feel like people have used me, I want to I want to bring in a bit of a different perspective. The perspective of, and I'm saying this from a space where I have been in a situation where I was constantly, because of circumstances, I was constantly that person who was likely making other people feel like I was using them, because I was constantly dependent on them to help me out of a situation, to help me put food on the table because I'm in a situation, to help me pay a bill last minute because I'm in a situation. So I was kind of like a beggar, you know? And it's a very, very bad place to be. I have been there. So this is not, this conversation is not to excuse my behavior in the past where I've been in difficult situations, nor is it to excuse other people's behavior who have been in that situation. But as I continue on this, because I've been on a spiritual journey, and I've been on a building my relationship with God journey, and there's been a lot of revelation along that journey, so bear with me, right? I nowadays feel like, whereas we feel as human beings that people use us, sometimes God actually wants them to use you, because He needs you to get them to where they need to get to, right? So you may not know it, and it may be extremely frustrating to keep on helping people who are always helpless. But sometimes it's not that person who is using you, it's actually God using you. And I say this because, like I said, we live in a world where by now it's so me driven. It's so almost selfish, self-centered, where our needs come before other people, where we no longer have that community kind of factor. You know, like for example, back in the day growing up, I remember anytime I grew up in our community. Family is extended family. It includes extended family in our community, right? And that is on both sides of my mom and my dad's side. Family, extended family is family. Even your neighbors can be can be family. So I remember, because I remember my dad came from a big family. Some of the members of his family have since gone to be with the Lord. May they rest in peace. But there was a time there when my uncles and and everything, there were many. And obviously they have their own families, and then there's the cousins and their cousins and things like that. So we were many. Like there was a time there in our home, it was like the first place people land and they come from the village. Before now they distribute themselves everywhere else. That's how it was, because my dad was one of the elder brothers in his family. So obviously, an elder brother who was a bit more financially capable, and so obviously a lot of relatives would make it to our home and everything. And I remember that's how we grew up. There was a season there for a long time. It was never we were never a nuclear family. It was always an extended family. And it was different extended families. And that's how we grew up, right? What I realized was in that setting, there was family. There was a sense of family. Yes, there were those relatives who sometimes you'd feel, okay, they're kind of taking advantage, maybe. I don't know, I can't speak for my parents, but I would assume that some people would feel like that. But in that support that they gave, they were actually fulfilling or helping to fulfill the destiny of those relatives, helping to give them a better life, helping to give them a hand up, a leg up, and so on and so forth. So this is a very short conversation. I just want you guys to, because I feel like today the world has really changed. I mean, right now, if someone was to call me, even me, and say, I'm coming to your house, in my head I'm thinking, oh my God, okay, I need to buy food, I need to what? Because first of all, I know people will probably come empty-handed, so I'll have to probably think of food. But then also I'll be like, my space, today is not the right time. If I hear a relative wants to come, it's like they have to make an appointment. It's not like before, right? Yet you have no idea that you could be the person who's linking that person to their destiny. But more importantly is the blessings that come with you helping other people, right? And not to say that we should help people because we're expecting blessings. But I think it's, I just don't know which, I can't remember the verse. But there's a guarantee that when you help the poor, you'll be prosperous. There's a guarantee. There are verses in the Bible that actually guarantee that. And so for me, I think what I'm trying to say is, let's not whine so much about people using us. Let's be a bit more empathetic. And I say this because I have been in that situation. Again, I'm not trying to excuse myself, but I have been in that situation where I had this one person, and I thank God for him every single day. I've had this friend who every single time I'm like, dude, I need help. He's always like, okay, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then, he sorts me out. And as a parent, like raising my child, right? It's been tough. And sometimes I'm like, where would I be if this guy was not there, And it's not to say that I am always in his face asking for help. No. It's two ways. He also, when he's in trouble, he'll be like, hey, Lilo, I need a favor, right? And that's how we were created. We were created for community. And the thing is, we are going into a time whereby that's fading away. But I just want to encourage you guys that the way God created us was not just so that he could use others to bless you, but so that he can use you to bless others. And sometimes it will be inconvenient. I'll finish with this last story. I remember when I think I've talked about it before. I had a friend, or rather I have a friend. She's amazing. When I was at rock bottom, I had not seen this woman in like 2 years. We used to hang out in a different forum, and then things happened, life happened, and we just went our separate ways, and we're not in touch. We didn't fight or anything. We were still friends, but we're just not in touch. And I remember when I was at rock bottom, for whatever reason, I didn't call her. She called me. And she had seen a picture of me somewhere, and she just looks at the picture and she was like, this chick is not looking herself. And she called me up and she's like, what's up? And I remember at that particular time that she called me, guys, I had just received a letter from the auctioneers, actually from my landlord, that auctioneers were coming. And that in 2 days or 3 days, I was going to be homeless. And that they didn't care because I had not paid rent, like I think for 2 months. And this woman called me just in the nick of time. And this is what and I remember she told me, you know what, I can't help you with money. I can't help you to save your apartment or where you're staying to pay rent. But I have an extra bedroom. Please come with your daughter. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you want. For as long as you want. Let me tell you, when I think about that story, I'm just like, if we didn't have people like my friend, I don't know where I would be, right? Just thinking about that season makes me teary because I realized that I was using her. I would be considered using her. But really, when I look at how her life is, I always say she's 1,000-fold blessed, like blessings upon blessings upon blessings. And I realize it's because she has such a big heart. So I want to encourage you guys who are frustrated by, we talk about black tax all the time. Perhaps shift your perspective and again, look at it from the angle of God, especially if you're a believer. I'm not talking to anyone else, especially if you love God. God could be using you to fulfill somebody else's destiny. If that friend of mine had not helped me, I don't know if today I'd be talking about this on this podcast. I don't know if I'd be in this house where I'm at right now, doing my thing. So yeah, so that's basically it. See you soon.